Hey YouTube, welcome back to the channel. So, this is going to be a little more of a kind of a downer video. It's not like my usual videos. It sort of kind of is, but I like to offer solutions lately in my videos, and this one really is just going to be me kind of going into a rant, maybe. I don't know. The snowball is still going on outside, so I just, the frozen snowball over the Midwest and the rest parts of America, so I'm still stuck in, and just thought it was maybe a good time to try to talk about this. I don't know. And really, I want to talk about MAGA. I've seen a lot of different comments and different people talk about this over the time on YouTube. There's just been a lot of conversation about it. Honestly, I mean, MAGA is already bad, but the gaslighting, the lies, especially lately with all the Minneapolis shit, and then of course they're trying to, try to keep themselves in power. They're genuinely being fascists. I mean, there's not much of an argument to be made. Otherwise, they're, trying to manipulate, like I've said, both sides are bad and blah, 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 blah. They're just trying to manipulate the narrative. And but I don't want to get into so much that right now. I really just wanted to talk about MAGA. And I gotta be honest, the first thing I want to say is this. I'm never going to forgive you guys. I know that sounds cold, and I don't like being that cold. I've never wanted to be that cold ever in my life about anything. And there's only, I can literally name like maybe only 3 things that I've been that cold before, and MAGA is one of those things. I have only maintained one relationship with someone who I don't know if she still is, but she is MAGA, because frankly she's my customer for one of my businesses, and I have a long history with this person, but I thought about last year just cutting her off. I mean, I actually had that conversation with her, and I figured it out. I set my feelings aside, and she really needed help with the thing, and it's like, okay. But and I was like, okay, well, maybe things will change. I don't know. Honestly, she's my experiment to see if people ever kind of bring themselves back around. I don't know. And if this person's watching, I think you know who you are. I'm sorry, but it's a struggle. It really is. I gotta be honest. I gotta be honest with you. But to the rest of anyone that I was friends with, I shut down my Facebook. I literally everybody, even the people that I was connected with that were not MAGA, I've kind of gone. My YouTube has been my reaching out to people, because because I can control the narrative there. But it's been very, very hard. And I don't understand it. I don't know well, I should say, I don't know if people that are MAGA right now understand how this is going to affect them moving forward in the world. Regardless of what ends up happening, if all of this just blows over and nothing really comes out of it, and Trump is impeached and removed or finishes out his term as a weak president, or if the other horrible thing happens where ICE is deployed across the country and we have basically another civil war, perhaps a world war, because Trump even goes further than our own borders, like he's talked about doing. Whatever happens, I will never forgive you if you voted for Donald Trump in 2016, 2020, 2024. I will never forgive you as a person. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people think, oh, well, that's creating a lot of division. Listen, I have spent the better part of my life trying to sympathize with these people, trying to sympathize with racism, sexism, just you name it. And, you know, maybe in trying to sympathize, well, they weren't as well educated, the education system failed them, XYZ. I have made excuses for this horrible shit, honestly, for years. And I apologize for that for everybody else, because I think I've been part of the problem there. I think at some point you have to admit MAGA is what it is. If you are part of MAGA, especially if you are still part of MAGA now, you are a racist, you're a sexist, you're a fascist, and honestly, you're just kind of a fucking horrible person. And if you're a lot of MAGAs right now are quiet. You know, if they voted for Donald Trump and try to approach him about it, they won't talk to you about politics right now. They'll probably try to avoid it because they know what the fuck they voted for, and they don't want to admit to that. And I gotta be honest, that's fucked up. Guys, if you want... It's one thing to say I voted for Trump and, oh shit, I'm so sorry, I thought I was an... You know, I've heard some people come out and say, I was an idiot for voting for Donald Trump. I'm not saying you have to call yourself an idiot, but they say they're wrong. You know, oh shit, I really truly wanted a better economy and I didn't know any better and I voted for Trump. This is not what I voted for and I'm genuinely sorry. You know, I don't want all this racist and sexist shit. Now I gotta be honest with you though, the MAGA movement was pretty on top of promoting all that stuff as well. So I'm not really sure why you just ignored all that. Thought it was hyperbolic or whatever. But okay, fine. If you're willing to come out and apologize about it, especially if you're willing to now go against it and fight it head on, you know, again, like I've said in other videos, calling your senators and your party officials and telling them, this is not what I wanted. I can give you a little bit of leeway, to be honest. I know I probably shouldn't be, but again, I'm trying here. I'm trying, okay? You know, because there's other people that'll say, well, you're being, division. And I don't want to be divisive, okay? I don't want to create division. But the problem is there's a line in the sand that you just don't cross. And I'm sorry. I look at the 1940s, the early 1940s. You know who I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about there. And that's where MAGA is going right now. And if you still support MAGA, or you're still trying to bring us together as a country, you are overlooking horror. You're overlooking horror. You're overlooking rape, abuse, and horrible shit like that. Dare I say that shit? You're overlooking horrible shit. And I'm sure that my video is going to get demonetized because I just said that R word. And I'm sure that, you know, maybe the algorithm might tank my video and everything else because of what I just said there. And that's the other sad thing. Where can I be open and honest about this? I think trying to sane wash what MAGA is doing is the other fucking side of the issue. We sometimes have to use dirty language to literally describe what's happening. And I have to sit here and navigate this on YouTube. If the Democrats, I'm sorry guys, but the Democrats, Joe Biden, didn't do 1/3, not even close to 1/3 of the shit, the bad shit. Honestly, none of the bad shit that MAGA has done, I'm sorry, none of the shit that MAGA has done to any of the shit, I can't talk. Any of the things that MAGA has done that's been bad, the Democrats, Joe Biden, they simply do not do. All right? Shooting people in the streets and trying to justify that. Tame the narrative to their liking. You know, some people are all out with it. I've had comments on my channels where they admit, oh, I totally voted to have people shot in the streets. I've literally, or go after Greenland. Go back and look at the comments. I've had some people actually say that. I appreciate those actually because they're at least admitting what this fucking shit is. I mean, they're still disgusting to me, but at least they're not wrong. I mean, they're admitting what they voted for, you know. And I'm like, okay, well that's asshole and you're a complete fucking scumbag. But hey, at least you're not trying to shift the narrative, because in my mind that's actually more dangerous. I'd rather these MAGAs be honest with what the fuck they are. And actually, for the rest of us that can see it for what it is, they've been very honest. But there's an overwhelming majority of Americans, and again when I say that I mean people in the United States, that simply do not see this for what it is, even right now. They just go to work, come home, act like nothing's happening, it'll blow over. This too shall pass. I fucking really hope it does. I hope we are that lucky, in a way. I mean, I actually hope in some ways it does get bad, because I think, another side of the coin, because I think this country deserves to have its ass whipped after letting this shit get this far. But of course, that would also be horrible. So in a way, I am hoping that we can just get through this and that people will learn their lesson the easy way. But I am not convinced that's going to happen. In 2020, when Biden got elected, I thought that it's possible that we might be able to get through this and you know, unscathed. Oh, okay, thank goodness, the country learned its lesson. Nope. 2024 buried any hope I had on that. If Trump gets through his entire term, even when let's put the best case scenario in place. Trump gets through his entire term with Democrats taking back the House and Senate in the midterms and making him a lame duck presidency, and until this coming November when we do that, not much else happens. Trump's just a lame duck presidency, and Democrats take back the House and Senate and keep that asshole at bay. That's the best case scenario right now. Well, impeaching Donald Trump would be even better, but let's be real. The likelihood of that happening with Republicans is not very good. So, I gotta be honest with you guys. I just, and again, people might elect a Democrat in 2028 after that, but it'll just be another 4 to 8 years, and then people will get bored because the country's doing too well, and people get bored when things are good. They want violence. They start watching violent movies and playing violent video games and rah 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 and they start and that's where all the conspiracy theories start coming out, you know. And then you rinse repeat. The MAGA cycle begins again. If it's not Trump, it's going to be someone else. The conspiracy conservatives, I guess that's a good name for them. They're the ones that generate all this, because people get bored and they want some excitement in their life. I know it sounds crazy, but even after all this, they'll get bored, they want excitement, and they're going to go after weird, bad shit because that's exciting. That's how people often do. That's why people go to parties. That's the same logic behind why people get drunk on a Friday and Saturday night. Is because they want excitement. And they don't know how to find excitement in science fiction. They don't know how to find excitement in just, I don't know, working on a computer project or doing, I don't know. They would rather get drunk, or do whatever the fuck else. But the problem is that mentality spirals into conspiracy theories and, you know, late night conversations about this, that, whatever, which, by the way, I get it. It sounds fun, right? But the problem is if you then start taking that shit seriously, which often people do, we end up with MAGA. The people elected Donald Trump a second time around. The United States, the people of the United States are responsible for this. And I will never forgive them for that. I'm not going to I'll always try to be nice to people. I'll try my best to be nice to MAGA, but they're going to have to do a lot of fucking apologizing before I really truly connect with them again. I'm not going to yell at them or throw punches in the street if I see a MAGA, you know, out and about in public, no. But I sure as hell will avoid them like the plague and probably ghost them and you know, if they actually do talk to me, I probably will just ignore them. But if they can come back off that fucking bullshit horse of theirs and especially come out and apologize for it publicly about all this shit, then maybe we can start rebuilding again. But this is why I'm not a fan of the both sides are bad argument, because you are literally comparing Nazis to anything half decent. And I think it's okay now to call the MAGAs Nazis. I truly think it's okay to do that. If you've seen the images come out of Minneapolis and you're still not willing to call that Nazi, I don't know what else to tell you. We just had another shooting today. And we'll continue to have shootings going forward. And if they can, again, guys, I said in my last video, Minneapolis is a test bed for a much larger country, across the country deployment, and perhaps across the world. And that is not me being hyperbolic. I am being completely serious there. I'm hoping we can just put a stop to it. I'm hoping enough people, push back in the streets on that. I hate to promote rioting, but they're at the point there in Minneapolis where that's all they got. For the rest of us, it's our responsibility before it gets to that point in our areas to call our representatives and talk to them and say, hey, we need change here. We need you to put a stop to Minneapolis and what Trump is doing and put some guardrails back in place. But until people do that, this Gestapo is going to keep rolling out. And that's where we're at. And the reason why I used the R word earlier is because there's a ton of fucking things happening behind the scenes that are bad. I have friends in Minneapolis. There's a lot of shit you're not seeing. Really bad shit you're not seeing. And I think because the media is trying to sanewash it. And that's the scariest part, right? I'll never forgive this. Like I said, I've been fighting this bullshit machine since 2015. When we first started hearing we're gonna build a wall and Mexico's gonna pay for it. I've been fighting this shit since then, since I was in high school. A giant chunk of my life. And I already know that we're not done. I live here in the Midwest. These people, they might crawl back under their rocks with their opinions, but they'll still be there. We're never going to have to not fight for this. Fight for what's right. So I don't know, guys. I'm going to say a couple things lastly before I end the video. Number one, I feel like this video has made it very clear if you made it this far, but I'm not a MAGA sympathizer of any kind. So there are some people that were subscribed to my channel that got upset with my last couple videos because they thought you're creating division. I don't know why you ever thought on my channel that I ever gave a shit about MAGA or anyone that supports MAGA. I don't. Until you come out of that completely and apologize for ever supporting MAGA, then I don't support you at all. I don't really care about you as a person. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. Secondly, this is kind of a little off topic, but, because I'm feeling like shit right now, I'm going to take the day off tomorrow from YouTube. I have fought so hard on this channel. I'm trying to fight the narrative. If you don't, me coming out and saying over and over again, call our representatives and make sure you vote in the November, I'm doing it, and people are like, both sides are bad, both sides are bad. That's me trying to fight that bullshit narrative because I know it's MAGA driven. And I'm going to keep doing it. And this channel is going to keep gaining traction because of it. But honestly, it's very tiring because this is very, very depressing. And I'm struggling really right now to continue doing this. But I'm not going to stop because I think it's a death sentence if I do stop. But I'm telling you right now that I got to take a break sometimes, which is, I talked about a live stream in my last video, but I can't do it, unfortunately, tonight. It's just, I got to take a break and do some house chores and maybe even conk out of the internet completely right now. Or if I do look at things online, just focus on other maybe electronic stuff like I used to do for a while, at least just for a day, And I recommend everybody that feels the same way I do, make sure you're doing that. Give yourself a day sometimes to conk out, right? My email address is on my YouTube channel. Anybody can contact me personally and write to me. If you don't feel comfortable talking in the comments, then you can write to me personally. I try to respond to all my emails. If you're having trouble with this too, and you're on the right side of history. And in fact, I urge you to shoot me an email if you do want to talk about something privately, if something's bothering you. Or maybe you don't have any family anymore because you have lost them because y'all went fucking MAGA on your ass. I'm here for y'all. I'll keep doing it. I just need a day. But I do really, really appreciate the support so far. Lastly, I'm going to be opening up I'm going to spend tomorrow also doing a couple channel related things, just no videos, but we're at the brink of 2,000 subscribers. I think we're like at 1994 or something when I record this video. So I'm going to probably start fixing up my channel memberships. I'm probably just going to have the one tier right now. Then I'll probably do at some point some members only videos and come out with maybe a video explaining what the membership's going to look like, at least what you get when you subscribe to membership. And then lastly, I'm going to work on opening a Discord server so that we all have a secondary option to communicate besides just YouTube. That'll be what I do right now. If I feel like we really need to go under, like, Underground Railroad kind of shit, perhaps I will find a way to host servers on my own. Again, I'm an IT professional for communication for all of us. But right now, I think we can rely on YouTube and Discord, so we'll see. But anyways, guys, that's it for now. Have a good day. Have a good night. Have a good day tomorrow. Stay safe out there. If you're here in the United States and you're under this winter threat, keep warm. And remember, we can do this. We can fight for this. And I appreciate the support up to now, guys. And once again, thank you very much. Yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.